Hello gang, good to have you all back again. Thanks for tuning in. If you're tuning in for the first time, I am the Articulate Grunt. Welcome to my channel. Now, as if the current administration's blatant preferential treatment towards illegal aliens and the protection of them in many cases, hoping to push through some sort of amnesty, wasn't blatantly obvious enough, with 36,000 convicted felons being released, with the shipping of newly captured border crossers to various bus stations, bus stops across the country, being released and just allowed to walk away. It turns out there's a program that a lot of these families have been taking advantage of. They'll ditch their children between 13 and 17 years old to be caught by INS, slowing them down so the rest of the family can get away. These kids are then put into a protective program. Initially, the program was forced upon an Air Force base down in Texas and has overflowed. As of last Wednesday, June 4th, 2014, the local representative and the commander of Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Army Training Base, were notified that they would be receiving 600 illegal immigrant children between the ages of 13 and 17 who were overflow from this program, who are being sheltered, fed, and tended to by the government until such time as it can be figured out whether they need to be repatriated back to their original home countries or reunited with their families in America, the same families that ditched them in order to escape and set up their new lives. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, it's at the average expense of $252 a day. That's just over $151,000 a day of taxpayer money spent to provide housing, food, medicine on our Army bases. On bases that are already stressed, that have already had budget cuts. And turns out the local representative and the commander were notified that $2 million has been set aside. Not to help with housing, not for compensation, but in case the government needed to retain lawyers should the local representative or base commander decide to try and take legal action against this relocation of illegals onto a military base, onto Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I'm sorry, what kind of bullshit is it where we've got our veterans, where we've got our citizens homeless and hungry on the street, and we're spending $151,000 plus a day just on one group of 600 illegal immigrant teenagers? Do you have any clue what I would do that, what somebody could do with that? Do you have any idea for $150,000 a month, the kind of program I could put in place to help our veterans coming out of service, wounded and otherwise, help them and their families get re-educated, retrained to find employment and find housing? It could make a massive impact for Americans. But no. Instead, this administration chooses to spend taxpayer money, taxpayer funds, to house, clothe, feed, provide medical for illegal immigrant teenagers, rather than shipping them to a processing center and getting rid of them. Which, if you did, their families would not ditch them to slow down INS, knowing they could get them back later. Personally, I find this is further proof why not only do some of our elected representatives need to be elected out of office, but brought up on charges, put to trial, and possibly put in jail for negligence and treasonous activity. Because they're putting others, non-Americans, those breaking the law, above not only Americans, but our veterans, without whom they wouldn't be shit. But, moving on to the more pleasant note, as I've been saying for years, I've done a couple of videos on before, the Canadian News Network, in response to their latest mass shooting, which I thought they weren't supposed to have. I mean, Canada's one of those places that's kind of, ban guns, it's like, banning alcohol or banning drugs. Once you ban it, nobody has it and it doesn't happen anymore. Right? Right? I mean, that's how it goes. But Canada had another mass shooting. And in response, the Canadian News Network has a new policy and has stated, and I quote, "We will not help this killer get his blaze of glory." That's right. They're not running the shooter's picture, his name, nothing. The incident happened. They're covering the basics of the news, but they're not going for the sensational. They're not going for the big, ooh, look at all this and examine this and examine this. They're not touching that. No name, no picture, no in-depth backgrounds or anything, nothing. They're cutting it off so no one else gets inspired to get their moment of glory and fame, be remembered forever, being inspired to do another mass killing like this dipshit, pathetic piece of crap just did. Now, If we can just get the Canadian government to move forward with the other part of what I've been saying, seal their files, record their Facebook, Reddit, other such postings to be reviewed by professionals, and then delete it. Make them cease to exist, erase them from the history of humanity. So rather than being inspired that, ooh, we'll get our blaze of glory, I'll be famous, I'll be infamous. No, you'll cease to exist. You'll be one less pathetic footnote in the history and chronicles of humanity. No one will know you, no one will love you, aside from those who already do. And in time, even they will have fleeting memories. Now, in researching and verifying this, I also found out that Miss Megyn Kelly of The Kelly Show has a similar policy in place. She will not use the picture or names of any kind of mass casualty producing individuals. The Fort Hood shooting, she refused to use picture or name. If you wanted to see that, go to another station, go to another program. She not only would not have it on her program, she would not do it. Guests coming on were restricted from using it as well. You know, I've never seen her show. I'm probably going to have to go take a look. She sounds like she might be a pretty cool lady. I mean, journalistic integrity. Who would have thought it? Take care of yourselves. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Hit the like or dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch up with you later. I hope this finds you the best of physical, mental, and emotional health. I am the Articulate Grunt. Take care. Out from here. Bye.